Hi, I'm Brian, and this is Josh. We actually recently got married less than a year ago after being together for 10 years. Both have really different backgrounds, different types of coming out stories, different hardships, and different obstacles to get where we are right now. So, Josh, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, background?
Sure, I've been in New York for about 18 years now, but I grew up in a very small conservative town. I mean, half of my uncles had evangelical churches, so it was a very sheltered background. But I was fortunate enough to have seen an ad in the newspaper when I was younger for Children's Community Theater, and that became a really big safe haven for me because of being bullied so much in a very rural high school and elementary school. I eventually did a show right outside of high school at a theme park, and that's where I met my first boyfriend, the love of my life, I thought, and my mom came to visit me, and who did not end up being the love of my life. But he was the first guy that I ever met and stuff out of high school who I could actually have a gay experience with, because I never had one before that. And my mom came to visit me at the show that we were in at the theme park, and she took me aside and she asked me, we went to dinner after, and she was like, I saw you with that guy, and what's going on there? Is there something you need to talk to me about? Is there something you need to tell me? And I just looked at her and I said, I'm gay, and he's my boyfriend, and what do you think about that? Of course, there were questions about church and the Bible, and there were tears, but it ultimately wasn't really dramatic coming out. But throughout that, theater and the arts and everything was really such a safe place for me, and I'm fortunate enough that she actually brought that to the table when I was young, and I got to be around people like that, so I was very comfortable with actually just looking her in the eyes and telling her that I'm gay. And it's been a journey, moving to New York, being in different relationships, and it's been a journey for the family, but I was fortunate to have a good experience with that.
So, like, you said that you were, really religious, and you were always brought to like different churches. Did you encounter any homophobia? Or
I remember sitting in church and hearing the evangelical pastor talking about homosexuals going to hell, and I remember sitting just thinking, oh my gosh, I am going to hell. Like, I need to get out of here. So that was really scary, and it really made me sad, and so luckily I had a place to go to with friends, to theater, to get away from that, and I was really lucky.
My coming out experience, it was a little bit protracted. I came out probably 3 times to my parents. This most recent one stuck. Had to come out to myself essentially, and I had to come out to work. But growing up, I did not want to be gay. I knew that I was different. It always seemed that I had friends, but I just did not connect with them. At the bookstore, I would go buy like Teen Beat or Bop magazine and write to the celebrities. And my name's Brian, but I didn't want to seem I'm gay, so I would write as Brianna. It was like super gay. So, but at the same time, I thought I was straight. Talked about girls. Like if I thought about guys, and I would quickly at the end like think about a girl. Like, oh, now I'm straight. So, that kind of all made up for it. So yeah, my parents went underneath my bed and saw like all these teen magazines and other stuff, and confronted. Actually, no, it was even worse. They went straight to my high school and pulled me out of class and then in the middle of campus, started crying as my friends kind of filed through.
Made you promise.
Well, maybe promised that I would not. Well, actually, no. It's, why are you gay? And I said, it's because every girl in high school is unattractive. And they're like, oh my God, that makes complete sense. When you go to college, you'll find a good-looking girl. I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. So I pushed it off until I went to college, and then I, started. Well, actually, I went to NYU actually, and they're like, okay, I don't want you to go to NYU because that's where all the gays are. Which was reinforced by the fact that when we visited, we came out of West 4th Street, we went west instead of east, went to Christopher Street and saw all those like crazy shops, and then my mom started crying, oh my God, what am I doing to you? And I'm like, look, everything's be okay. She's like, okay, as long as you don't cross 6th Avenue and you won't be gay, you can come. And I promised. And I promised her not because I wanted to fool her so I could come to New York City. I promised her because I generally did not want to be gay. So the first half of that freshman semester, I didn't cross 6th Avenue, thinking that would, in some childish way, that would protect me from being gay. Ultimately, I feel like no matter how hard you try not to be yourself, it's going to come out one way or the other. It's either negatively or positively. It's going to come out in some kind of like pressure release form. So I started, I went on the web boards to this club that is completely closed now. It's like Tunnel. And said, hey, who wants to go to a gay club with me? So we met at a coffee shop. And this guy's like, hey, nice meeting you. These are all my friends. I'm like, oh my gosh, gays have friends. It's not like this lonely one-on-one meetup. And but I did say, hey, it would be great if I could meet your friends far away from the window so nobody can see me through it. They're like, okay, sure, we'll do that. So fast forward, I become a lot more comfortable with myself. Went through relationships, went through a lot of friendships, and I called my parents up. I'm like, hey, I'm confident who I am, and it seems like you really, see that confidence. I'm gay, and everything like it was just crazy. It's like, oh my God, why would you do this with us? The whole like cultural returns were just like crazy. They did everything from threatening suicide to threatening to kill whomever I might be dating, to just like threatening like other people's lives. It didn't feel real because it was very clear they were lying, but it felt the emotions were quite raw. So I basically went back in the closet and basically said, look, I'll try to be straight. And they're like, that's all we can ask for you.
Yeah.
And they were really happy. And then the third time coming out, which is the most recent, right?
The third time.
And I said earlier that we got married about a year ago. I was really content, and I think a lot of this happens to people whose culture tends to be a lot more conservative, or like ethnicities that tend to be a lot more stringent in the culture. Is that you're like, what? Let's just be quiet about it. Let's keep this lie going. Everybody is pretty much lying to each other, and we all know we're lying to each other. So, and so I was totally fine with that. And my brother was having his first kid, and he told me like, hey, you need to come out, which I felt a little bit kind of angered that he would take out my coming out experience, but it was more so I was angered that he basically called me out, saying I need to come out. And I still didn't understand that until he said, look, I'm having a kid. You've been with Josh for, I don't know, like 8-9 years together. She's gonna start asking questions, and I don't want to lie to her. And it'll be up to you to lie to her. And I don't want my own brother lying to my child. And that completely opened up my eyes, right? Because I was like, you know what, something that innocent and something that, just there's something really perverse about kind of corrupting a child because you're afraid to tell the truth. And that's when I was like, if I feel that is such a detriment to that child, I wonder what it's doing to me. I wonder what it's doing to Josh. I wonder what it's doing to our relationship. You know, just to ramble on a little bit more. I mean, when my parents would come,
Yeah.
right, I would hide everything of like that showed Josh, right?
Including the dog.
Yeah. So it was like that movie, but like it was so what we had to like hide pictures of ourselves.
Yep.
Anything that was kind of gay, any tight clothing, I would like
Any-
put in the back of the closet.
Books would be put away that might look
Yeah.
somewhat
Yeah.
gay.
You would take.
I would take the dog. I would go down to Starbucks and sit for like an hour and a half and just
Yeah.
play on my phone and just wait for them to leave.
And I thought that was completely normal, you know, and I
But we
didn't.
made it normal.
Yeah, you do, and you're right. You do make it normal,
Normal.
and you really don't know how much effort that you put into not being yourself, and how much of an emotional toll, as well as just like a physical toll, just not to tell the truth, right? And that type of effort could be spent elsewhere, whether it be bettering your relationships, whether it be doing work, whatever it is. You're not doing it because you're too busy playing this game that's not yourself. So it's kind of interesting. Like probably about 3 years ago, so 7 years into dating, somebody randomly hit me up on Facebook and said, "Hey, Brian, saw you on Facebook. I don't know Josh, but I'm actually from his town. I'm from his school. I'm just a high schooler." And I think he probably was like, I don't know, 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't know me, but I've just been following you guys on Facebook, and you seem like a really happy gay couple. I don't know what to do right now. I'm getting bullied at school, and even worse, he also tried to find a safe haven by being the artist, going to theater classes, and his teacher was bullying him, saying that he would go to hell, and which, strange enough, was his
My high school
teacher as
choir
well,
teacher.
who actually gave him the same type of.
That I need to be more masculine. I don't need to be as feminine. I need to be careful how I speak. So and
Yeah.
I'll never even forget that.
Yeah, and so I got on the phone with him because he seemed lost, and the questions that he was asking was very heartbreaking, and I feel like it's probably questions that we all ask, especially you. Maybe you forgot because
Sure.
it's been so long. And they're simple, like, can you be happy and gay? Can you have a professional job and gay? Or am I subject to more mediocre jobs purely because people find me different? Gay sex, does one person always have to not enjoy it and pretty much be like the sacrificer of not enjoying it? Do you have to dress like a girl? I mean, these were laughably very simple questions, but at the same time very sad. And and I feel like he just really generally did not know the answers, and just talking to somebody, asking questions. He wanted to be a nurse, I think a nurse.
Nurse practitioner.
Yeah, and was wondering, can a gay person do that?
Yeah.
And the biggest advice I gave him was like, well, it's very clear that you need to talk to more people besides us, and it's very brave of him to kind of reach out to us. And fast forward a couple of years, he went to college, surrounded himself with a network, came out to his parents finally as well, and he's really happy.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of interesting that took just a simple phone call to kind of open up the floodgates, essentially, to self-discovery. If I were ever to give any advice, is that you might feel very, very weak coming out, or you might feel very weak right now before you come out. And I didn't know, and I feel like for most people also, how empowering it is to come out, to actually control your own life, to control your own identity. And people will feel that. People will feel that confidence. People will feel that empowerment. And that is what will make you successful as a person, I believe, whether it be in personal relationships or even at work. They start to feel that. And that's how you succeed. And I felt when I was in the closet, I was marginalized. And people can tell that I was marginalized, and people can tell that I was happy. content being marginalized, and that doesn't open doors. And they close those doors when you're not true to yourself. They close those doors when you're not true to them. So again, I would just, it might be very difficult right now. It might feel very, very marginalizing right now, but it's amazing when you do come out and then you are true to yourself. You really do find that niche. It's like a superpower that gets unlocked.
Yes, yeah. I think my piece of advice would be wherever you live, wherever you are, find a community that you can relate to. I think that's really what helped me gain a lot of confidence. And I mean, it helped me. I did a variety show in high school where I did drag and dressed up as Dolly Parton because I had this confidence because of the community that I put myself in and was able to find. So if you're able to find a community near you that you can relate to and help you build confidence, that's my one biggest piece of advice.